Well, everyone, Jeff, aka Jesus Reincarnate, is at it again. He and his wife, twin flame Shalele, the leaders of the Twin Flames Universe cult, remember them? Well, I know, I thought that maybe they were done doing this shady stuff, but apparently they are not. They recently released part 1 of a video series where their current members share how amazing TFU is and try to reiterate after a year that they are not a cult. They're framing it as we're finally being able to tell our own story, which is honestly funny because they've had a platform on which they could have told their story at any point over the last year, but they chose not to. So now they're trying to flip the narrative and cry wolf and say that they're the victim. So today we are going to watch this video and I'll be reacting to it live for you. Well, not technically live, but you all know what I mean. I'm gonna do my best to not get too snarky in this one, so sit back, relax, and take a deep breath. It's time to let the fresh air in. Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome if you're new. My name is Erin and I am fascinated by all things cults, true crime, and unique spiritual practices. I post 1 or 2 videos covering a cult or a true crime case every single week, so if you like this sort of thing, please consider subscribing. I would absolutely love to have you here. It's so kismet that this video came out recently because I had been wanting to do an update on Twin Flames Universe. And then actually one of the parents who literally still can't reach her daughter reached out to me and said, hey, they're going live. They are still trying to tell people that they're not a cult. And we're going to break it all down. It is really, really fascinating. It's really concerning. And overall, to me, just odd. If after a year, people aren't talking about you anymore, you want to jump in and remind them that, oh, hey guys, remember that group that you all thought were a cult last year? We just want to come back and remind you that we're not a cult. It reminds me of this boyfriend I had broken up with and we hadn't spoken in a month. And then he emailed me to tell me he didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I was like, bro, we already weren't talking. Why are you sending me an email telling me not to talk to me? It's a very strange play. I think they're trying to play on the no press is bad press and all press is good press angle. But going into viewing this video, I do want to remind us all that this is not to shame or blame the people speaking in the video. In my opinion, they are still victims. They were preyed upon when they were in a vulnerable position. So I just want to go into this video with as much compassion as possible. So please, in the comments, keep it respectful. Let's not be judgmental. And let's just hope that everyone who's involved in this video and this cult can get out of it. Just break free. So without further ado, let's start this video.
First, no, we're not a cult.
It was just interesting to watch how they would with, the scary music and stuff, how they would kind of switch the story in a way.
Never in my life here in the community have Jeff and Shalia ever talked to me about my gender identity at all.
No one talks about it when Tony Robbins charges thousands of dollars for a motivational speaking event or any of that stuff. Cool, wonderful. Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm really looking forward to diving into this conversation and getting to chat with you all about your perspective on the recent events and the media around Twin Flames Universe. Our really beloved community and getting to share our side of the story.
Recent events, but the docuseries came out a year ago, and Jeff and Shalia invited a Vanity Fair author into their home to interview them, yet no one's gotten their side. Interesting. Also, it's so interesting that they're creating this right now, very close to the anniversary of the docuseries coming out. because you're kind of reminding people that people think you're a cult, right? Like, I feel like most human beings might forget that you were in, or that you were in a docuseries that accused you of being a cult, to the point where me and some other activists have been like, we need to keep talking about this. We need to create more awareness around this group. We need to try to make sure that people don't forget that this group is a cult. So for them to basically platform themselves and be like, hey, everybody, by the way, remember when people said that we were a cult? Do you remember that? Well, we just want to, A, remind you that people think we're a cult, and B, also tell you that we're not. Because this also could have just been a let's all share our positive experiences being in Twin Flames universe, right? Instead of, hey guys, there are a lot of really bad things that have been said about us. People do forget. There are so many scandals. There's so much drama going on in the world that I do feel like, unfortunately, people kind of forget about problematic behavior or dangerous groups. So it's important to continue to follow up on those groups to see if they're still maintaining some of those dangerous practices. And with this, I just find it so odd because not only are they victimizing themselves, when I say they, I mean like Jeff and Shalia, because obviously we know that this would not be on the YouTube channel of Twin Flames Universe if Jeff and Shalia didn't outwardly approve that it needed to be on the channel. And it's not a new YouTube channel. The YouTube channel predated years before the docuseries came out. So for them to now, a year after the docuseries came out, decide to post a YouTube video claiming that no one's ever wanted to hear our side of the story, well, actually, people have been begging to hear your side of the story. Netflix themselves asked to hear your side of the story. And now you're going to be blaming editing and blaming probably ex-members. Why open up the floodgates again? If you're truly happy in this group and everything's going as well as we're about to hear it's been going, why post this video? Why collect these stories? It tells me that something is going on inside Twin Flames universe that is, I mean, they must be losing numbers. The thing is, and I want to share this before we get into hearing everybody's stories, and I promise I'm not going to be talking the entire time. Something I want to make sure that we remember is we're seeing examples, and you're about to hear examples of people being in a really, really, really vulnerable position when they found Twin Flames universe. And they started feeling better because they were doing a lot of reflection work. And now they're saying that, oh, it was Twin Flames. It was Jeff and Shalia. That's the reason. They are the reason that I feel better now. They're the reason that I feel good now. When in reality, that isn't really the case. They did the work themselves. So I really want us to be compassionate listeners as we move through and listen to this, because at the end of the day, I do believe that these people are all victims in this situation who were preyed upon because they were in a vulnerable position. And the thing about cults is there's always something good about the cult, right? There's always a positive aspect of the cult when people get in. That's why people stay in. I just want to remind everyone that cults don't look like cults when you first enter them. Oftentimes, members of cults don't realize they've gotten involved into something dangerous until it's way too late. And so I just want to continue watching this with a lot of compassion for these victims, because that's what they are, in my opinion, because they were preyed upon when they were very, very vulnerable. And this was accessible to them because maybe other options at the time weren't accessible to them. So as we listen to their stories, I really want us to try to listen with a lot of compassion.
I just want to kind of start off with, what is our side of the story of this? And if you guys would like to share some stories of, how TFU has actually positively impacted you in your life and what it's really done for you.
TFU has changed everything about my life. Before coming into this work, I was actually like really not okay mentally and physically, and I actually didn't know if I was gonna live or not. It was that intense at times. And since coming into this work, I've been able to heal my mind. My physical body is better. I feel way more alive. I feel purposeful. Like I know myself on such a deeper level than I ever could have if I wasn't here. And that's why I choose to be here every day, because I see the progress. It's not just me talking. My life has changed drastically, and it actually, like, the teachings here literally saved my life, and I have a lot to give to that, and to Jeff and Shalia for that. Like, it feels like an honor to be here. It feels like an honor to share this work and to help others, come out of their, darkness, because that's what's happening, and I'm watching it. And yeah, it makes me emotional, because it's such a profound thing, and it's so like under the radar what we're doing, and like we're very like humble about that. And to anybody who feels that call on their heart to be healed or to find the tool, like the tool is here, and it's safe to try it out for yourself. That's
Beautiful.
it.
Thank you for sharing that.
I can share. So I actually would consider myself a very normal person. So I grew up very grounded and stable and very logical. And when I found Twin Flame Universe, and I like analyzed everything. It's not something that I just jumped into. And
They have to have someone who was logical so that this can be a selling point to other people that feel like, oh, well, I'm a very logical person. If I'm in this group, it's not a cult. I think things through. I overanalyze everything. And, none of that means that you're not too vulnerable or vulnerable enough to get involved in a group like this. Because to me, if you're going to claim to be a more logical person, you've maybe outweighed all the pros and cons. You might watch a docuseries or listen to other people's stories, because just like all of these people are sharing their stories, we saw true stories in the docuseries. I have spoken personally to people who were in that docuseries. There are interviews on my channel sharing more in-depth insight into the group. There was visual proof. There is a lot of social proof that this group is inherently dangerous. And I feel like it's also a strange follow-up from this really, really heartfelt story, this share that the first gentleman talked about. And I want us to really think about language. Amanda Montell's book, The Cultish, talks about the linguistics of cultic language a lot. And I think that we need to really listen to how they are sharing their stories. The first gentleman even said, this is a safe space for you. This is a safe space if you are dealing with some really, really harsh mental trauma. If you're worried about whether or not you're going to live or die, you should come to Twin Flames Universe. It sounds so powerful. And it sounds like, yeah, he did gain a lot from some of the insights. But with a situation like that, it makes me feel more concerned for him than happy for him, because what if inevitably one day he recognizes and won't be able to reconcile the idea that he was actually in something that was really dangerous, and it might end up long-term doing much more harm than good. This second speaker is coming from almost the exact opposite place, where he came from an emotional low, and she is coming from like an intellectual high. So now she's sharing this experience almost as a juxtaposition to this very emotional, it's like, I'm getting whiplash, So now we have, yeah, this is great for you if you're in a really dark place. It's also great for you if you're logical and like more left-brained and you think things through. This is a great place for you. And I'm sure this woman is very logical and analytical. However, she was in some kind of vulnerable position to get involved in this in the first place. And we're going to listen to the rest of her story.
Had 2 children, was, had my own business, was, really accomplished. I, on the outside, my life looked really good, but on the inside, I was miserable. So I had a lot of anxiety. And even though I was fit, exercise wise, I had tightenings in my chest every single day from the anxiety and the stress. And I was really, really unhappy. I would actually say that I was depressed. And when I started on this path and I started learning how to do the mirror exercise, I found relief. I physically started to feel better. And that's what made me continue. It was the very first time in my entire life that I had tried anything that gave me that relief. And my relationship with my kids has improved significantly. So prior to this work, I was maybe a little bit of a crazy mom because I was really controlling. So I thought my worth and my value was determined by my kids' success in their sports or school or whatever they were doing. And so when I started on learning these teachings, I unconditional love. I was like, what is that? I had never really experienced that. And then I started applying that to myself and to my kids. And so the pressure that I was putting on my kids, it changed. It completely changed them because I took that pressure off and allowed them to be who they were. So my relationship with my kids started to change. And because I was so unhappy and so disconnected from any sort of true purpose, I really felt at that time that I had to literally suffer through life. I just had to struggle and suffer. I felt like I wasn't in power to make any changes. And it was through these teachings that I realized that's actually not true. And just learning how to, feel my feelings and to love myself, it's changed everything in my life. So it's changed all my relationships as a result. So I've had nothing but positive experiences.
Mm. Thank you. That's very moving. It's beautiful. Yeah. Amazing. 2 amazing stories. Woo. Wow. Yeah. And that just goes to show TFU changes you in the best way. It changes you to become a better version of yourself. And that's been my experience as well. Anyone else like to share a little bit about theirs?
Yeah, I'd like to share. Yeah, Twin Flames Universe, just like Ryan and Samara were saying, it completely transformed my life on all levels. Yeah, I was depressed before I came into the work, the whole Twin Flame journey. I'm sure a lot of people will understand that. And Twin Flames Universe just completely it's hard to put into words. It's not something that you can really explain in words. It's like a feeling, a shift in your consciousness, and you just gradually start feeling better and better as you do your inner work, your inner healing work and stuff like that. Being able to heal your trauma and all of that stuff that really holds you back. You're able to really.
I just want to remind everyone that unless something has changed over the last 6 months, no one who is a coach at Twin Flames Universe has any true, real, accredited education on how to help heal other people's trauma. They pretend they do, and then they exploit survivors of PTSD who are in similar situations where they are seeking healing, and they somehow find Twin Flames Universe. This is not the same healing that you're going to be getting from a professional who has experience in the field and can give you valuable tools. The tools that you're going to be getting from Twin Flames Universe are tools that they want to sell you for exorbitant amounts of money or try to get you to become a coach, and then they barely pay you, if they pay you at all, to coach other people to be coaches. This is that pyramid-like structure that we've talked about very frequently, especially when it comes to Twin Flames universe. There is a recruitment aspect to it. So if you are like one of these people featured here today, and Jeff and Shalia or another top coach believes that you have what it takes to help other people and you have the drive and the motivation, they're going to ask you if you want to be a coach, but then you have to pay to become a coach and spend a lot of your free time doing free coachings before you get paid. And even if you do, it's a very, very low amount of money. It is not worth the time that you're effectively putting in. And I think this is kind of a red flag. These people have been invited to come and speak to the audience about their experience and how it was positive within Twin Flames universe. And one of them says, well, you can't put it into words. It's a total consciousness shift and it heals everything. No one thing can heal every single piece of your life. No one thing can heal every emotional ebb and flow. No one thing can heal you all over physically. It's nuanced. My word of this year has been nuance. Everything is nuanced. And so while I'm glad that some of these people who were hurting found something that helped them, I would really implore all of the people who have spoken so far to not only credit TFU with their growth and their change, because at the end of the day, they're doing the work themselves. They're just being exploited by Twin Flames universe, because Twin Flames universe isn't offering anything that's not free online. You can find the same teachings for free online. These are not valuable enough to be getting charged this amount of money. And even if you do have the money to invest in your healing, which I think is kind of a privileged place to be in, and that's why there are so many online cults these days, and that's why this is so inherently dangerous, because people might not have the money to seek out counseling or other forms of therapy. So they're turning to the internet and then going into debt or saving up all their money that they could then use towards something that is tested and potentially able to help them even more than Twin Flames universe. But Twin Flames universe is like heightening the price 3, 4, 5, 6-fold and saying you're going to get overall healing. The thing that's dangerous, and I love talking about this, is if everything is always a blessing, it makes it a lot more difficult to see those red flags. If you should be grateful for every single thing you have in your life, sometimes it becomes difficult to differentiate where your pain points are and a situation that you might need to get out of. So if everything that feels like a red flag within the Twin Flames universe is reframed by Jeff and Shalia or some other coach as, well, maybe you should do the mirror exercise. Oh, you're feeling resistance towards our teaching? That's a you problem. Go do the mirror exercise. That is problematic. That is not healthy. That is not positive. And I would implore all of these people to look inside themselves and remind themselves that this isn't just Twin Flames that's done the work. It is them that's done the work. It isn't Jeff and Shalia. Jeff and Shalia just get a cash cow. They're getting a cash grab from you. That's what their motivation is. And it makes me so sad because, like, if these people here in this video want you and us, the audience, to hear their story, yet they were unable to truly hear the story that other survivors were sharing, that's not really fair, because now you're kind of implying with this video that yours is the only story that's true and yours is the only one that's valuable, when that's simply not the case.
Move past it and not be stuck in it. So for me, like they were saying, it's just completely transformed everything on all levels. It's like beyond words. So
I feel like for me, it's like the self-empowerment piece. I used to live like in a way that I was like a victim to my circumstance. And I feel like with this work, I could really like, oh, I can have dreams and work towards them. Wow, like I don't have to live in this way that I'm living, like crippled by my circumstance sort of thing, right? So that's been a really game changer. And I would say my life is pretty good. Yeah, so there you go. How about you, my wife?
I resonate, of course, with everyone that's shared so far. Prior to finding the teachings, I felt, well, Ryan spoke to it perfectly too. It was not really knowing that you wanted to continue with your life, because I felt so much lack of purpose and meaning. And I just remember feeling just miserable and down and out, and really like seeking and purpose and wanting to work towards something and have meaning. And so when I found TFU, it like lit a light in my heart, or a fire in my soul. And I really, like, I was like, this is it. You know, the very first video I found of Jeff and Shelly, I was like, oh my God, what is this? This is what I've been looking for. And my life has changed immensely because of the teachings. Have my twin flame and harmonious union, married, and just cultivating a life together of love and joy and happiness. And it's a stark difference from what it was before. So yeah, I'm very grateful. I think laughing.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, for me, similar to Tamara, like my life looked pretty good on paper, but something was missing for a really long time. And so I went out to go and find that. I went on like about a 2-year spiritual journey after leaving a relationship that never felt right in my heart. And that led me to, you know, therapy and to healing retreats and to yoga and meditation, all this stuff, searching for God, really. And it made me reevaluate my whole relationship with God, and really choose in my heart to find him. Like, I was going to find God. Like, I was gonna, on God, find God. And so I kept searching. And then eventually, you know, my journey led me to Twin Flames Universe, and it all clicked into place. So all these realizations I had was like what I was learning in TFU and discovering here. And then everything felt better, you know, from there. I finally had this tool to regulate myself and to build a life that I wanted to live, and that I wasn't like just, you know, meant to be like a spinster. Because honestly, I got to that point where I was like, all right, I'm just going to be with God. Like, you're my man. I'll be with you my whole life. And then, yeah, met Dylan. Now I'm in harmonious union. Like, we have a beautiful life together, and he's behind the camera right now and doing a great job, and we're living our purpose. And so everything has really changed for me, and just keeps getting better and better.
Listening to her, first of all, she's beautiful and her voice is like butter. I'm like, why don't you just create meditations for us? But I really was worried for a second that she was going to start talking about how Jeff is God. I feel like she kind of alluded to that, because we've all seen, if you've seen the documentaries anyways, you know that there is footage out there of Jeff claiming to be God. I've even shared clips of him saying that he is Christ, he's the second coming. So when she said that, I was literally like, oh, are we about to do that? But then it's like she caught herself and decided, oh yeah, that might make Jeff and Shalia look even worse and make this look more like a cult if I talk about how I found God here. So she kind of like sidestepped a little bit and was like, yeah, now I'm really happy and purposeful, and I found my twin flame harmonious union, or however they like to call dating somebody. It's like really just, it's so heartbreaking, because clearly everyone was in some kind of vulnerable state. And so they have to tell this almost like rags to riches. It's kind of like an emotional rags to riches story, where they're like, yeah, things were really, really hard, and now they're not, thanks to this one thing that I'm doing that everyone thinks is a cult, but now I'm telling you it's not, so hopefully you believe me. And it really breaks my heart, because it's such a good example of the things we talk about a lot in my videos, like cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias. We are seeing these people here who were deeply hurt, and they're unable to see any evidence contrary to Twin Flames Universe saved me. Twin Flames Universe saved my life. My life. That is powerful. And I hope, because I think something I try to do with my channel is to encourage people to look at those who get sucked into cults with a lot more compassion and patience, because they're not crazy people who believe anything and are really naive. They're more so people that are seeking something and they think they've found the thing that they're missing within a group. That doesn't mean they're crazy or, whatever. And I mean, I want to just eliminate the word crazy from my vocabulary, because to reiterate my point from earlier is it looked good from the outside, and it looked good at the beginning. It looked good. And that's why these people stayed in it, because they had a problem and they think that it was Twin Flames universe that solved the problem for them. But you have to acknowledge the pain that this group caused other people. It's like if your friend is in a DV situation and you say, "Oh, well, I never had a bad experience with them." Of course you don't. You don't live with them every single day. So you're not going to see that side. So maybe if someone is telling you hey, deep in the inner circle, when you get really, really into this, it looks and feels really bad and it's very, very predatory. The practices that Twin Flames universe has and promotes are not healthy, are not positive. It creates this obsession with somebody else. It makes people have left their children for their twin flame. People have changed genders because Jeff and Shalia told them to. And just because these people in this video may not have had that experience doesn't mean that it wasn't true for the other people who had that same experience. So I think we need to, before you make a decision on joining this community, I think you definitely should avoid it at all costs, in my opinion, but it's so vitally important to consider that who is going to come up with a fabrication so grand just to ruin someone's business? And why would they all have the same story and be in so much pain? That's not fair. It's not fair to discount those experiences because you want to share yours now when you have barely been in the group. If you got in right before the documentary came out and stayed in, you don't really, really have an inside scoop of the history.
And what do you love most about your experience with the community and being involved here?
I feel like it's the family and the family feeling and togetherness, and we're all working towards a unified vision and goal. And there's a lot of passion and purpose in that. And we just have fun every day. It's just a joy to wake up and know that you get to partner with those that you love and continuing to move towards that shared vision. Yeah.
Well, I feel like, that fun part and being together with someone who's, moving towards the same things. We're kind of like a football club, right? In the league, We're, going for that, what do you call it? Ryan, what do you call it? The championship, the cup, World Cup. Yeah. So I feel like, you share experiences in that, right? And you build and you have fun together and do all that stuff. So, yeah, it's great. It's a great team to be on. So
it is a team, and everybody has their role on the team, right? And we all have such unique design and. Yeah, it's a cool thing. It's a very diverse group, and there's so many stories and so much to learn. Most of us feel like we've known each other our whole lives, and we just meet. It's a very interesting group. It's only growing and becoming more of what it naturally is. It's beautiful.
For me personally, it's been very life-changing. Me and Manuela decided to roommate together here in Traverse City. And it's been extremely easy to transition our lives together. Both of us being unionists, if we make each other upset, we don't blame each other, we just heal with the mirror exercise. It's been extremely easy just living with her. I've had a roommate before and it was a disaster.
So did you hear that? Unionist. So, well, two things here. I'm just going to back up quickly. So we've been, when I say we, other activists and advocates have been a little concerned that there could be a commune being built in Traverse City, Michigan, where they are inviting people to come and basically live. And we've seen in every single cult that has created a commune, there is a financial expectation when you live on the commune, and there is also a free labor expectation when living on the commune, because the idea is that it's kind of a self-sustaining community. And in order to help that community thrive and survive, everybody has to have a job or a role. And that's what happens in these communes. But in general, people still want to have some kind of a career. So although they are living in a cult commune, they might have a job on the outside, but they're bringing all of their money and putting all of their money into the cult or the group or the commune. It is sometimes labeled as a donation or tithing or however they want to kind of cover up their scheme. But essentially, they're having people pay to live at this commune where they just get to work for free and do free labor. But they all think that since they have a collective vision on how they believe people should live, and they all live together in this space, they're unable to see that they're actually being taken advantage of. And it is my fear, especially with all these people coming together, I'm just kind of like playing Blue's Clues here, is there seems to be a theme of we get to wake up every day and come here. So these people sitting on this couch, they must live near each other. They must be somehow working directly with Jeff and Shalele. They must be a part of the inner workings or the inner circles. So there's Twin Flames universe. And in order for, in my opinion, Twin Flames universe to maintain its nonprofit status and be tax exempt, there had to be some kind of like spiritual practice within it that was official. And this is the Church of Union. So basically you have TFU, which is a for-profit entity, I'm assuming, and then Church of Union, which is the nonprofit union, because churches are tax-free. So they started doing these like Sunday sermons and youth groups and things like that. Or not youth groups, but like online Bible groups where they would then post them on behalf of the Church of Union, and they're called unionists. So what I've always kind of thought is that unionists is like this is all speculation, the umbrella under which TFU and the food program and MAP all kind of live, so that all of the money that comes in through these other entities is under this nonprofit umbrella. So then that money, since it's for a nonprofit, since they're offering a service that the government doesn't offer, then it's all tax exempt. And I think that that is how Twin Flames Universe is still surviving and how Jeff and Shalia are as wealthy as they are. They're like playing the system, playing the game. This is all, of course, I'm saying it again just for legal purposes, my opinion and total speculation, because I mean, I know this video will get on Jeff and Shalia's radar because they've blocked me from everything, and they I mean, obviously they don't like me. But the fact that she's calling herself a unionist, that's almost even more culty to me than saying that you are a part of Twin Flames universe. To say I'm a unionist, that implies, well, I'm all about togetherness. I'm all about compromise. But if two people are using the mirror exercise in an argument, are they really understanding the effect that their behavior is having on the other person if they're not able to I think it's very important to reflect on how your behavior affects other people. But I also think it's equally important to understand that sometimes you're going to be affected by somebody else, and there comes conflict when people aren't understanding the other person's point of view. So I think that it's kind of a combination of this self-reflection and accountability, and also recognition and validation of somebody else's feelings. And sometimes with the mirror exercise and this unionist idea, that's what makes me concerned for some of the people that are still involved in this group.
It's not like that at all, living with Manuela. So, yeah, it's just been extremely easy living together. Just very peaceful.
It's like divine friendships, right? Yeah. Friendships based on unconditional love and responsibility for your life and, not lashing out.
It's extremely, I think it's just very meaningful to me because we value the same thing. And we're working towards the same thing together. So, yeah, that just means a lot to me. Yeah, I would say being around the community and is very different than being around like anyone else. Like it's very peaceful. Like Destiny was saying, we all have like the same like core values and like vision. So it's just very peaceful to like align with people like that. And yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Twin Flames universe and the community is my twin flame. Yeah, being in harmonious twin flame union and having the support needed to maintain that and grow that and expand it and share it, I think is like a vital component of Twin Flames universe. And it's a gift. It's an incredible life to have your perfect partner with you and your companion in life. And it's something that like I really desired when I found the community, and I just was having, you know, disaster after disaster after disaster in relationships, and I'm like, the common denominator here is me, none of these dudes. So I knew like I had to change, and I had to look at me and find a different way. And I really am in love with the twin flame journey, and I'm in love with my twin flame and my man, and like I love living our life together. And that is something that is 100% a product of Twin Flames universe, and I'm deeply grateful for it.
Yeah, I guess I'd also like to say, like, I've been on the Twin Flame journey for, like, 5 years now, and, like, 3 years with Twin Flames Universe, and, like, I recently, like, manifested my Twin Flame union, and it's only been, like, 2 weeks, and I'm like, wow, this is the best relationship I've ever had, you know? You know, I'm like, whoa, this is so fun, this is great, you know? So that's, like Chrissy was saying, like, a really wonderful product of the teaching, so I'm like, yay.
It's almost like, because Chrissy's like the CEO of the MAP program, which is like the PTSD healing portion of the, and it's like one of those little entities within the umbrella, and it claims that it can like heal your PTSD among other things. And I actually did an interview with a licensed counselor who kind of took it apart. You can get it right here. She was just deeply, deeply concerned about when she saw the docuseries. So she started her own podcast, and I'll try to remember to link it in this description down below. But she like really breaks down how dangerous the MAP program within Twin Flames universe is. And that woman who was just speaking previously is like the founder and the CEO of that program. And to me, her insertion of her story kind of felt like she was trying to reel everybody in, like, guys, talk about twin flames. I'm glad you guys are happy, but like, talk about how you got into perfect harmonious union, because I did, and you need to talk about it. And when we jump into this harmonious twin flame unionship that just finally occurred 2 weeks ago, and it's the most amazing relationship, it just feels so love bomby to me. It feels so like, oh, since you're in TFU and I'm in TFU and we both kind of like each other, it must mean that you're my twin flame. You must be my twin flame. It feels so good. And I just feel like having such high expectations in any relationship this early, it's only been 2 weeks. Oh, it makes me like worried that she's going to just be heartbroken, or there's going to be all of this pressure from the other people within the group for this couple that they're going to like stick it out and try to maintain something or some relationship that might not really be the best for them. And I think that like a lot of these pairings, I don't know, I question how genuine they really are, because it feels like it would be so forced in a community like this. Like, well, we're both in TFU and we both want our twin flame and we're attracted to each other. So that must mean that we have to be together. We must be the pairing. This has to be it. Instead of going towards it with like a fun energy to just see if this person works for you and you're compatible. But it feels like with that statement, I'm like concerned for her to jump into something really, really fast, if that makes sense. But I also feel like there's this pressure. You have one of the highest up people in Twin Flames universe basically sitting and watching everybody, trying to make sure that they say the right thing. I mean, we didn't even really realize that she was there. The camera was just like, oh, the CEO of our MAP program that cost a lot of money, who's in the right-hand pocket of Jeff and Shalele themselves, is there monitoring all of our responses, and she wants to share one too? Okay, well, here you go. It just feels very dangerous to me.
I will add that I had an acquaintance came up to me after I had started on this this journey, and they said, like, can I just ask you something? Like what have you been doing? Because like that really high stress person, I started to like, relax a little bit. And like Ryan said, every single day I feel better than I did the day before. But when that acquaintance asked me what I had been doing, I was like, oh my God, I found the secret to life. Like I found the secret. And that's when there was so much negativity after the docudramas came out. Like I felt like really attacked because, I'm in my 50s and I had spent like all of my life really unhappy, really like stressed, like no purpose. Even though I had, created a career in one direction, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I had no purpose that I felt like happy about. And I really felt that this was the first thing that allowed me to really live, and like to.
I just feel like it's really dangerous to give any one thing so much credit for anything in your life, let alone everything in your life. I think it's so dangerous because do you see how it creates this like dependency on the program? Because she is going to stay and keep doing this and doing this and doing this because she really, really, really believes that the only way for her to achieve the level of happiness she thinks that she has achieved is if she stays involved in Twin Flames universe.
I didn't even realize I had the power to create my life. So it changed everything in my life. They've done a study before, like if you take like a homeless person and you bring them off the streets and, you give them, let's say you give them a house and you pay for a house, they will most times go right back to the street. And that's like the fear. That's like where I think some people may have a hard time with the journey is like, we're sort of like, creatures of habit, or changing profound things in your life is difficult. So even in my own life, there's some times where I'm like, you want to like go right back into that pattern that doesn't make you happy. And to keep that, like sometimes it's easier to stay in a toxic relationship because it's familiar or common. And to make the change seems a little bit harder. But this is what these teachings have done, is to, show you how to love yourself and how to make those really profound changes, which will bring you that peace. Mm-hmm. That's been my experience.
Yeah, I feel like it's my favorite part is like we're bringing heaven to earth, right? I'll just say it. Like that's what we're doing by making heaven happen inside of ourselves, by bringing peace and love within ourselves. Like that's what's happening. That's how we create a beautiful world for all. And so, and also my twin flame, of course, and all my friends here and this beautiful community and volunteering. And there's so much, right? There's something for everyone.
So we've got all of the recipe, like all of the ingredients for a cult here, right? We've got heaven on earth. We've got you're volunteering. You're not even getting paid for your time. We've got total dependency on the group. Like this woman who is leading this conversation, it feels to me that like every piece of her life is in some way tied to the group. Her job, her volunteering, her twin flame, her life at home. Maybe she even lives on the commune. Like I'm making a lot of assumptions here. I don't know for sure, but it just feels like this is such a dangerous game to be playing with your life when one thing, one group, one person, one anything becomes your absolute everything. And she's really sharing the cultic talking points, even though she's trying to prove that this is not a cult. Bringing heaven on earth is what every single cult says, or they say if you live the way we live, you will get a better spot up in heaven. Or of course, there's the self-help cults, but this just feels so sad to me. And the woman who spoke previously kind of said the quiet part out loud, where yes, I can totally understand how when you're on a path, say on a path to sobriety, and it can be really hard to not fall back into habits that didn't serve you, right? When you're on a journey through something challenging like that. However, I think the same can be said for a group like Twin Flames Universe. And it sounds like the woman who spoke before this person isn't able to recognize that the toxic part of her life could be the very group that she is touting right now, right this very second. And that breaks my heart for her. It's like the awareness has been channeled in a different direction. The awareness isn't quite where the awareness should be placed, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I just rambled for a little bit, but if you can put my words, put my ideas into better words, please do so. We're going to watch just a little bit more, and then we will take a breather for this video.
And yeah, it just feels like Ryan was saying as well, like very divinely orchestrated and just very like everything, you know, works together so seamlessly, nonstop to create something beautiful. I feel like I just want to kind of start off with the elephant in the room, if you will. The question of, you know, how we all feel about Twin Flames Universe being viewed as a cult or being called this cult that we've seen.
I had a feeling this video would be long, but not quite this long. So I am going to go ahead and make this a two-parter. And later this week, we will finish up the coverage of this video where they get to defend all of the cult allegations made against them. So let me know if you like this format of video, guys. I know it's a little bit different than what I've been doing, but I really needed to check back in on Twin Flames Universe and hopefully break down in real time some of that cognitive dissonance and things that we're starting to see. That way we can have and hold more compassion for people in general across the board that get involved in these dangerous groups. So I want to say thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Eat a lot of food tomorrow, and I will see you this weekend in part 2 on Saturday. So have a wonderful rest of your day, y'all. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there, ask questions, and always stay skeptical. I'll see you soon. Bye.